Here we are. Welcome to the weekend, Ben. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing some more good news about Zaragoza and Aragón.
You've come to the wrong place.
Oh.
The buzzword this week is, in Spanish, toque de queda. In English, curfew. Tell us about the curfew, Ben.
Well, I mean, there isn't actually anything to say other than that it has been very strongly discussed, and there seems to be a motion towards it being brought in on a national scale. We were looking at the possibility of having a curfew in Zaragoza and possibly Aragón at first, but because of the way the autonomous community system works, you can't really do that with just individual autonomous regions. Is that right? You know more about this.
That is right. The Constitution means that only the ministers, the Council of Ministers, effectively the cabinet, can declare a state of alarm, which is where what you require for the power to call a curfew. What is happening, though? I mean, this started at the start of the week with Madrid basically calling upon the national government to call a curfew because they didn't have the regional power. And as we're here at the end of the week, we are hearing very, very, very strong indications that the Cabinet is meeting over the weekend to discuss that decree of a state of alarm. We have, amongst others, I think we have at least 6 of the autonomous regions who are calling upon central government to put a curfew in place. We also have...
They're asking for different things as well.
They are, which is going to cause an absolute level of confusion.
Madrid and the Valencian community, they want one thing. They want to implement a curfew that goes from midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, which is, as I understand, what they would introduce in Zaragoza, in Aragón. However, Castilla y León, they want a curfew that begins at 9 o'clock in the evening. So we could end up with curfew, but it might be different depending where you are in the country.
Which seems to suggest that in the end they'll probably go for I don't know. Do they try to keep that balancing act of the politics of allowing autonomous regions to make the decisions and central government issuing the power, or will they go for a uniform approach to make sure we're all in the same situation?
That these decisions are based on the number of cases, so it depends on the severity of the state of alert, which is what it's called now.
Fair point.
In the region. So if you have more cases in a region, they might come down on you harder with tighter restrictions.
Well, okay, and I would change the wording ever so slightly. I wouldn't say they come down on us harder. They would give the power and permission to the local autonomous authority to make the decision they feel appropriate. Mm-hmm. When we were seeing that this week, I mean, we are... As of next Monday in Zaragoza, in Aragón, we will be in this level 3 with the reduction on capacity for public transport, reduction on opening hours for entertainment and pubs, all of these kind of things. We've already set these out in our articles on the website, bulldogs.org. But these aren't the full extent of the powers that were available to the local authority under the legislation that was passed. So there is still a kind of pick and mix approach. They haven't touched regulated education, for example, still remains untouched.
Well, we'll find out more about the curfew in the next couple of days, I suppose.
Isn't that strange?
By next week.
Isn't that strange? This is now another weekend where we're all waiting for an announcement to come from our superiors.
They have a meeting on a Friday. The media picks up a few headlines. Sunday they start to put something into place, and then Monday it is actioned. That's what usually happens during the times of COVID. Meanwhile, as we move into how do you say this? The alert level 3.
Yeah, well, we're going to level 3. Yeah,
here in Aragón.
It's a bit like tier 3 if people back in the UK are familiar, or people listening to what's happening in the UK. Zaragoza will be Manchester.
Yeah. Well, 90% of the cafes and bars will be closed due to the restrictions, and there's a lot of talk about how they are going to be supported financially, because in other autonomous regions they have received funding to the hostelry sector. Catalonia, for example, they got 40 million euros has been announced that will be received by 50,000 different establishments. In Aragon at the moment, we have nothing.
Well, they're suggesting, I think the headline is extension of ERTE, tax reductions and postponement of tax payments. But there has been no discussion, as far as I'm aware, of outstanding rent issues for bars. And also there's a very strange heading where they say a new package of direct aid, guarantees and subsidies for digital transformation and payment of rentals for hoteliers.
Yeah.
Subsidies for digital transformation. Do you fancy a digital pint, Ben?
I have absolutely no idea what that means. Well, apparently the mayor met today to talk about a drop in taxes.
Yeah, this is part of the suggestion they're making in terms of this package they're going to offer. They're going to offer a reduction in taxes.
But
that's the headline. I'm still looking at what that really entails. But
as always, everything is completely unclear. I mean, hopefully we can clear a few things up now in response to the level 3 alert. We had a couple of comments on the articles that we produced earlier in the week. There's a comment here from a good friend of ours, Dawn. She
Hello,
said,
Dawn.
how sad for everyone. Is there a website that shows what the restriction levels mean? Is there a website that shows what the restriction levels mean? I know that we've provided our own infographic about level 3, but again, it depends which region you're in.
Yeah, because they can pick and choose from the criteria available to them under the powers of the legislation. Different areas are putting into place different parts of strategy. So
the best thing to do is to go to our website.
Yeah,
really.
If you're living in Aragon, we are covering. We're specifically covering the events and the strategies in Aragon and Zaragoza. But you really do need to have a little consult of local press to get a clear idea, or even your local government website. You can probably find an English version on there if you really need to.
Again, there's another comment here, just a lack of clarity. This is from a user called Trevor. He lives in Cuarte de Huerva, and he's been told that he's not allowed to move between where he is and Zaragoza freely for 2 weeks, and he wants to know if that's correct.
That is correct, Trevor. Yeah, that is correct. Unless you have what's called a justificante, which is the criteria, a justification, a criteria for you to be able to break the perimeter lock, which I think basically goes to force majeure, emergencies, health, business, or travel
Some
between place of residence and education.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at doing, I think he mentions enrolling into a Spanish course. I think it's probably unregulated education, private sector.
The organizer has to provide the permission slip.
That would be my advice. My advice would be to contact the institution that you are enrolling with or want to enroll with to start Spanish classes, and ask them if enrolling with them means that they can provide you a justificante for your ability to cross the perimeter lockdown. Otherwise, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to access Zaragoza for at least 2 weeks. That's true.
Right, and what else? Diving into level 3 alert. Have you got any more information that you can provide us with?
Pretty much what we've already set out on our website. It is, like I said, it's a further ratcheting down of what level 2 was. So effectively what you're going to see is just less bars are opening, because it's just not viable, and there's an earlier closing time as well. Reduced capacity in things like theatres and cinemas. All of the data is on our website. And you will also notice that be aware of maintaining distance between tables in academies and bars. I think the minimum they're asking for is 1.5 metres. So be aware of that distance requirement.
I do actually have some good news. I suppose it could be good news. Maybe it's one of the worst times in history to launch a new business or open a new outlet, but that is exactly what's happened here in Zaragoza. La Torre, or the Tower outlet, has opened on the old Picoline site. It opened its doors to 17,000 people on Thursday, I think it was.
So they had 17,000 people come up in the first day.
Yep.
That's impressive. That's impressive,
and
I have to say.
at the moment, this week, they're still at 50% capacity because we're currently in level 2 alert. Obviously, that will change next week. They've got like 60 fashion brands, 50 labels that they're selling in this huge outlet, and there's like a 30% to 70% discount. It does feel strange talking about these things in consideration of the current times, but yeah, I mean, it's been a big boost for the local economy, and they couldn't delay opening anymore. It was getting to the point where they were going to lose a lot of money. They've produced 9,000 jobs. That's 1,000 direct and 8,000 indirect, and they're just going to have to try and do the best they can during these new restrictions. Next week, I understand they'll have 25% capacity. They'll not be able to open the interior of restaurants to the public, but they were very vigilant during the opening. Lots of announcements on the speakers. They've got a mascot in the shape of a bag called Trendy. Yeah, are you with me?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Trendy,
I'm a feeling it.
the bag mascot. He was walking up and down this huge queue, just squirting people with alcoholic gel, alcohol gel, and they were very, very vigilant with the social distancing. So I don't know. I would say go check it out, but we'll leave that up to you.
Well, something else to be aware of and to watch out for on social networks and radio and television locally is the government of Aragón will be promoting their equivalent of the tracking, the test and trace app. It's called Radar. As I said, they're announcing a campaign to push it on social media for younger people and television for older people. They stress it is a privacy-safe application, but obviously what it does is track your movements using your phone. I believe it is
your
GPS, yeah. And then informs you if you have been in contact with someone who has delivered a positive PCR result. I'm not going to change my wording from that. It has been pointed out by some people that they don't think digital tracking is helping necessarily giving any positive assistance or results or data in other countries, whereas other people do say that they believe this is providing positive information in the fight against the virus.
I don't really see what the point of a track and trace GPS system is when we've got a curfew and high alert lockdown. It's just going to be a load of static dots, surely.
Well, we have to wait and see. Yeah, we have to wait and see. Again, it seems to be effectively we're approaching a case of large-scale, national-scale imposition of very substantive restrictions on freedom and economy that seems to be presented as local decisions. I think you can see a parallel between places like France, Germany, Britain, and Spain. Ireland, of course, has gone for a full-on lockdown. Wales has gone for a full-on 2-week lockdown. Ireland is 6 weeks. I think we're seeing the run-up to the expected Christmas cancellation. On that very happy note, I believe there's no good news to bring.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. So enjoy your weekend, and once again we'll be watching out for political announcements as to what to prepare for in the next week. Stay safe, and remember out there, you only have